Hello, and welcome to the Vital Spirit Method workshop, where you'll learn how to go from exhausted to energized at midlife. I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Today, we're going to talk about how you can have more energy to get through your day with a stable mood and a focused mind. Maybe you are fed up with being told that feeling run down, burnt out, and exhausted, overwhelmed by daily life tasks is just part of normal aging, right? Maybe you've been told your labs look fine, even though you don't feel fine. Or you've been handed a script or a pill, as if there's no other solution by a doctor who doesn't even know you. If you want to go find the root cause of your ailments and symptoms, then you found the right place. Maybe you don't want to just manage those symptoms with a pill. Also, you've found the right place. You see, the standard of care is a broken system, and women come to me to be seen, heard, and treated as a whole person. If you're here watching this, I imagine some of this resonates with you. So, we're going to start with a case study. And no, this is not her real name, but we're going to talk about Anne today. So, when Anne first came to see me, she was 41 years old. And like many of the women that I've treated over the last 11 years, she wanted to feel like herself again. That's a phrase I hear every single day. She had been struggling with fatigue since having her second child, and she had a fairly demanding job. And at this point, two kids at home, age 4 and 2. She was reaching for that second cup of coffee in the afternoon to make it through the day and that extra glass of wine at night to unwind, probably while doom scrolling or doing something that wasn't going to help her energy the next day, but it was her time for herself, which I'm a single mom to a 9-year-old, totally get it. She was noticing her clothes didn't fit as well, even though she hadn't changed anything about her diet and she was exercising regularly. But she was bloated, she was struggling with constipation, and she was noticing that her hair was falling out and kind of lacking its luster. And this was a new symptom for her. Most importantly, she explained that her irritability was through the roof, both with her kids, her husband, and then also with coworkers. And that was not something that she had typically experienced. She was normally pretty even keeled. To top it off, she could not focus. She did not know why she had walked into a room after she walked into the room, and she didn't feel like she could get further organized because she didn't have the energy. So, if any of that resonates, maybe you can identify a little bit with Anne. So, why do I care so much about this? Why did I start the Vital Spirit Method? Well, as I said, I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston. I'm a naturopathic physician, speaker, industry leader in gut brain health, and nervous system regulation expert. I am the creator of the Vital Spirit Method, which is my signature system to cultivate resilience through body, mind, and spirit medicine. I actually founded Roots Deep Medicine Clinic, which is a natural family health specialty practice, in 2013. So I've been serving families in Fairfield County all of this time. And I really started to recognize after 11 years in practice, private practice, and 20 years in the health and wellness field that I was really passionate about helping women through the transitions of perimenopause and menopause. So I really help women recover from chronic and traumatic stress so they can feel strong in their bodies, clear in their minds, and alive in their souls. I was getting extremely frustrated with the standard of care and hearing stories from women coming into my office looking for answers of what they were experiencing in their healthcare experience in this country. So maybe you are too, and that's why you're here. So did you know that 80% of women in perimenopause report feeling fatigue? That's a really high percentage, right? It's quite different. It's a significant increase from women in their childbearing or reproductive years, where fatigue is around a 30% prevalence. So you might think that you'd be a lot more tired when kids are younger and you're not getting sleep, but it's actually as we get older and our hormones do start to transition that fatigue becomes a lot more prevalent. So I like to talk in my practice about the line of fine and about the difference between reactive health and proactive health. So it's easy for us as women to get caught up in the daily responsibilities, caring for everyone and everything else except for ourselves, right? And whether we experience noticeable acute traumas or we have stress built up in our nervous system over time, midlife is really when we can no longer ignore those symptoms, those cries for our attention from our body, mind, and soul. We really have to start listening at this point. I'm sure when you talk to your girlfriends, or maybe some moms at the playground or coworkers at your job who are juggling family life and career, that you hear this all the time, right? I'm so tired, but I'm having trouble sleeping. I can't focus. I'm gaining weight. I'm so irritable, but my doctor says my labs are fine, right? Well, you deserve to go beyond the line of fine and experience a new standard of care. And that's what I've offered at Roots Deep Medicine and I've now cultivated in my Vital Spirit method. So, the Vital Spirit Method is a one-to-one program to guide you from midlife crashing to midlife crushing over the course of approximately 6 to 9 months. The time frame is not the same for everyone. We're all unique individuals, right? But most women feel an increase in energy after about 2 weeks and sometimes even more quickly. The way that I practice, I really try to get those wins right up front with patients so that they trust me, they know that this method works, they feel better, and then they're able to put energy and effort into some of the changes that I'm asking that they make on this journey. So I've really learned through my work with hundreds of women that most physical and emotional conditions and symptoms are rooted in a maladaptive stress response. Typically, a lot of these symptoms resolve when we learn how to regulate our nervous system. And I don't just mean, somatic practices or breath work, although that might be part of our work. I really mean figuring out the things that are triggering our nervous system and diving deep into lab work and figuring out what for you as a unique individual is an energizing or depleting thing that you're experiencing in your daily life, right? My signature vital spirit method really uniquely will guide you to recover from chronic and traumatic stress through body, mind, spirit medicine. So let's break down and deconstruct some of the old science, some of the things that you might believe, right? Some of the things that a lot of women that come to see me still believe. And as we work together, start to realize that these are not facts, these are not true, and our health does not have to be limited by them. So, first is that hormone replacements or a pharmaceutical, an antidepressant, or an anxiolytic are the only solutions for managing the shifts in hormones and the decreasing energy levels that you're experiencing at this phase of life. That is just not the case. That is not the only answer. And I have a lot more to offer you. Second is that you can increase your energy levels without addressing your nervous system, right? That again, it's your hormones or your mental health, your neurotransmitters, your serotonin, your dopamine that's making you tired. It's not those things, right? They might be a piece of the puzzle, but they're typically not the root cause or the only foundational piece. And then third is that weight gain, fatigue, all of these kind of negative experience or symptoms that start popping up at this phase of life are just part of getting older. There's really nothing you could do about it. Just accept it. It is what it is, right? And that your labs are fine, so you're fine. Again, we touched on that at the beginning. Again, not the case. You can move beyond the line of fine. We cannot heal the body without healing the mind, and we cannot heal the mind without healing the body. So, where is the intersection of all of these pieces? The nervous system. So there's no pill for that, right? I know that it's easier to be told, here, take this pill. It's going to solve all your problems. But when we mask the symptoms that our body is conveying to us and we don't listen, they're going to come out somewhere else at some other time. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long time and I've seen those symptoms come out in other places. I've worked with women over the course of over 10 years and I've helped them navigate those symptoms as they arise. So they don't disappear if you don't address the root cause. And there's just not a pill for that, right? Nervous system regulation is so key, and it actually is a solution that doesn't involve any pills. A lot of times patients come to me and they've been told they have to take a lot of supplements and make all these drastic changes. And we might use supplementation. There's a time and a place, but there's really not just a pill to solve all these problems. So if you want to have more energy and get through the day with a stable mood and a focused mind, there's the Vital Spirit method. So, what is vitality anyway, right? In naturopathic medicine, we talk about the vis, so vis medicatrix naturae, so the healing power of nature and that innate vital spirit that we have. It's the life force that gives us energy, that gives us that feeling of vitality to tackle tasks throughout the day, to have emotional balance and regulation when stressors come our way. So, a lot of what I do, a lot of the work that I do, whether it's running functional medicine labs, talking about diet and lifestyle, maybe using homeopathy or herbs, right? A lot of that is geared towards increasing our vitality and providing our body with the tools that it needs to heal, because our body's really smart. It knows what to do and it wants to heal. So, how do we do this, right? So, first, let's acknowledge where you're at now. This might seem like a lot of information, but I'm going to walk you through exactly what pillars and what phases we work through in the Vital Spirit method. So, first, I'm going to have you focus over here on gut brain axis health. So, the gut and the nervous system communicate back and forth through the vagus nerve. And that means we need a regulated nervous system for healthy digestion. And we need healthy digestion or calm digestion for a regulated nervous system. So, if you're currently struggling with bloating or constipation, irregular bowel movements, or you're someone that's historically struggled with gut health, you're definitely going to start in pillar one. And everyone honestly starts there anyway. As we move through pillars and phases, ideally, you have noticed such a change in your gut health as you move on to pillar two that then has a trickle down effect to the other organ systems that we're going to be working on. So, as we move on to stress response and resilience, right, regulating that circadian rhythm, we'll check in. Well, how is sleep? How is our nervous system response now that we've removed some of the stressors and some of the inflammation, right? Then we move on to what I call nourishing vitality and balancing, specifically balancing neurotransmitters, hormones, supporting mitochondria. We can get even more nuanced with our treatment protocols at this stage. But if we hadn't worked on that gut brain axis first, it's almost impossible, and you're kind of playing whack-a-mole with symptoms if you don't have that healthy foundation first. As we move on to our fourth pillar or phase, I fondly call it hair, skin, nails, and spirit. And you will experience exactly what it sounds like, radiance from within, right? So we want to see that physical manifestation of beauty. We want to feel like our skin looks healthy and our hair is healthy, right? But we have to work on it from the inside out. So, a little bit more simplified version. So, first, we're going to recognize and remove unhealthy stress responses and inflammation. Then, we're going to regulate and restore your HPA axis. It's your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And once you work with me, you'll become really familiar with these terms and what they mean. And more importantly, what you do about these things every single day as part of your daily habits and routines. In this phase, we're again focusing on things like thyroid, adrenal, sleep, metabolism. It's typically the phase or pillar where a lot of weight loss is achieved. We've already gotten that energy up, and now we can focus on maybe balancing our metabolism and losing some weight. And then we move on to replenish and rejuvenate, again, where we're really tweaking those hormones and neurotransmitters, kind of like the icing on the cake after all the gut, brain, and HPA axis work. And then we are rebalanced and resilient, right? Healthy hair, skin, nails, and spirit. So at the end, you feel vital both inside and out. And for those of you who don't think in boxes or Venn diagrams and you just want to see a roadmap, this is something that I share on all my discovery calls with patients to see if we're a good fit. And sometimes it's easier to see this in order as it goes. So again, phase one, recognize and remove, working on that gut brain axis. And we're going to go into some more detail around that. Phase two, regulate and restore, working on the HPA axis. Phase three, replenish and rejuvenate, where we're really nourishing that vitality and really starting to see a lot of the work that we've put in come to fruition. And then phase four, rebalanced and resilient, healthy hair, skin, nails, and spirit. Okay, so what does this mean, optimizing gut brain axis, right? Again, our gut brain axis is that communication pathway. It happens via the vagus nerve. So when I'm working on this phase with a patient, again, I'm optimizing digestion. So I'm figuring out if there's an obstacle to cure in the GI tract. So we might run a stool test and look at pathogens. I typically always run a food allergy profile with patients and figure out what foods are inflaming your system, what foods are dysregulating your nervous system. We'll certainly have a talk around caffeine and sugar strategies and really start to pull out the things that are draining your energy and replace them with things that will increase your energy and vitality. Lots of work on the microbiome here. Luckily, research has caught up to us there. And so I love citing studies and using evidence based medicine here. And phase two, so the regulation of our HPA axis. Again, that's that hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's something I talk about a lot with patients. I talk about it on social media. So I'm sure have heard me mention this before. So we're focusing on adrenal health. Like, are you a patient that's completely burnt out? Is energy just flatlined, right? How do we get that energy back? Is your thyroid contributing to some of your low energy levels throughout the day, right? How do we balance that? Are you sleeping? Do we need to work on metabolism? Remember, it's not just your mind or hormones. We're working on all of these pieces. And next, we're going to replenish and rejuvenate your spirit by optimizing neurotransmitters, further balancing hormones, and increasing mitochondrial energy. So we're really moving beyond the line of fine in this phase. We've cleaned up the gut brain axis, inflammation is down, energy's up. By that point, patients have usually lost weight. They're really motivated to keep working, and they're kind of like, "How much better can I feel?" This is a really fun phase for sure. And as we move on, again, healthy hair, skin, nails, and spirit. I joke with patients that hair is sometimes one of those things that takes a little time, right? We have to make sure we're nourishing the gut. We have all of these phases leading up to this for a reason. But this is also the time where, your energy is higher. You've achieved some of that focus. You likely feel more calm and balanced, and so you're really experiencing that radiance from within, kind of from the inside out, right? So let's check back in with Anne. So, if you were to join us in our Vital Spirit method and work through these pillars and phases, what would your life look like, right? Like, what's your new reality? So, let's think back to those old science ways that we were deconstructing and let's reconstruct them a little bit. So, first of all, you can improve your energy levels by implementing lifestyle changes and focusing on nervous system regulation, removing those obstacles, those depleters, right? And none of these require a pharmaceutical. So you don't just need a drug or a pill to achieve these goals, right? They're not the only solution. Number two, nervous system dysregulation is the culprit of low energy, right? And fatigue and brain fog. And it really does have to be addressed in order to avoid this vicious cycle of fatigue and hormonal chaos. So again, when I'm methodical with a patient and I want results quickly and I want that patient to feel better fast and also know what the journey looks like, know what they need to do, first things first is we have to be in a healing state to heal. We have to be regulating our emotions, our stress response, our nervous system, and get out of that fatigue hormone chaos to truly address and resolve these issues, right? And then third, so, lifestyle choices, proactive management of stress, getting on top of nutrition, exercise, they're all going to ameliorate a lot of these symptoms and move you beyond the line of fine, right? So, if we can figure out for you as a unique individual, what are the things that have been depleting you? What are maybe the toxicities that have been adding to that bucket of overwhelm and overflow, right? And we can start activating your innate self-healing pathways in the gentlest way possible. Well, your innate self-healing and inner vitality are going to increase. I've seen this hundreds of times over the course of 11 years, right? Okay. Now, objections. I knew we'd get here. So, okay, Dr. Kelly, that sounds so great, but it's got to be really expensive. That's usually the first one I hear. Do you take insurance? That's an objection I hear all the time. My answer to that is that an investment in your health, your long-term health, and working on health optimization and prevention is a worthwhile investment. And I will walk you through in a discovery call what that investment is, what that looks like, what your options are, right? Or maybe an objection is it's going to be too much work. I don't have the time. I can't do it. It's too much work. I've tried it before, right? I've heard all of these objections, and I do understand that sometimes when I'm asking you to look at things through a new lens, or we're shifting our paradigm of how we think about our health. It can feel a little scary. It can feel a little bit overwhelming. And so my favorite thing to do is really to understand your unique situation and help troubleshoot that, and clarify for you if it's a good fit. So we'll talk about how we can do that in just a minute. But the reality is that you have an option, right? You can go beyond that line of fine. You've got your old life and on one side, and we've got this potential new life. So you're at a crossroads. So you could have a calm mind, an energized body, an open heart, a hopeful spirit. I'm sure all of those things sound amazing, to be more in control of our emotions, our body, our future health, to be there for those we love, and really tap into that inner knowing, and really recognize and reorganize your body's ability to heal. But again, that's a choice that you're going to have to make, and you are at a crossroads. I would say that the risk you run, really, for not making that choice, is to stay in that standard of care and not get answers, and just kind of keep going on autopilot, and taking that pill when it's given to you, never really understanding the messages that your body's trying to tell you. So let's chat, right? So let's chat health strategies. I do run a very busy practice. As I mentioned, I also have a 9-year-old daughter. So I don't have a ton of time to open up for these complimentary discovery calls. But what I'm going to do is every week I'm going to have about 5 slots, maybe seven if I have some extra time on my hands. But I'll definitely allot 5 spots to my weekly calendar where I can get on about a 20-minute strategy call with you. We can identify your best next 3 steps going forward to feel more energy, and then we can talk about whether you're a good fit, for the vital spirit method, or to work with roots deep medicine in another capacity, because my goal is to get you feeling better. And so let's check in on Anne, right? Remember Anne? So Anne was a great, again, not her real name, but Anne was a great patient to work with. Within a week of working together, she reported back that she had more energy. I think I actually got a message from her after her first visit, like, "Oh, these changes, I got to make these changes." And we had a little pep talk. We solidified what changes she was going to make first, exactly what she'd be doing every day to achieve results pretty quickly, and she felt really good fast. So that gave her momentum and motivation to continue. I remember that we did find some inflammation both systemically and in her GI tract. So we figured out the ideal diet to get her some blood sugar balance and some weight loss pretty quickly. And that helped contribute to her increase in energy. And then by the time we finished our work together, she was sending all of her friends. She was raving to everyone how much energy she had throughout the day. She said she no longer wanted to kill her husband, which is good. I don't want anyone killing anyone anytime. A lot less irritable with her kids. And she actually made a decision to make some changes in her career because she was able to focus more and was a lot more clear headed. And that ended up trickling down into a much different daily life and daily routine for her that benefited her entire family. So Anne was a great success story. I have lots more where those come from. And if you want to get on a discovery call with me and we can talk about some of those examples of other patients I've worked with, I'm happy to do that, again, without any identifying information. Because the reality is that you get to be the hero of your own story. I haven't gone in a ton of detail in this webinar workshop about my own personal history, my own journey, if you will, but I do share a lot of my life that's appropriate with patients, because I want you to know that I do know how you feel. I have been there. I've had to figure out a lot of my health concerns hormonal and mental health on my own and my health journey with help from other naturopaths and other wonderful physicians and healers. So I'd love to share some of those pearls with you. And I hope that you reach out and book your discovery call. You can click the button here on the website, and you can also find me on social media if you want to get to know me a little bit better. As I said, my passion is really helping women recover from chronic and traumatic stress so you can feel strong in your body, clear in your mind, and alive in your soul. So, thank you for joining me today. I know it's not always easy to carve out time. I hope that this was helpful, and I see you in the Vital Spirit method soon. Thank you. Have a great day.